Good morning and welcome to Coffee and the Word. So I hope you've had a good week. I hope you avoided most of the rain yesterday. Well, you probably didn't avoid the rain, but the effects of it. I hope that everybody stayed safe and for the most part dry. If you walked to your truck at any time or your car any time during the rain, you didn't stay dry. But it's a beautiful morning. I just walked out and was thinking, wow, what a gorgeous morning. And then all these helicopters came to, mosquitoes were all over my house. So it's going to get mosquito-y over the next few days, I'm sure. Load up on some mosquito repellent and stay safe. Today, the verse is one of those verses that I believe we misconstrue and misrepresent, and I want to try and clear the air a little bit with it. It's a verse that is so encouraging, but misleading if you have the wrong idea behind it. And so it comes from the 37th Psalm, and it's this: take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. So when I read that, what part do you hear? Because I think it really tells a lot about where you are mentally and maybe even spiritually, about what part you hear. If you heard the first part, take delight in the Lord, like spend some time just soaking in the goodness of God. Spend some time in the presence of God. Spend some time focusing on God. Take delight in the Lord. If you heard that part and that part stood out to you, you're probably in a pretty good place, spiritually and emotionally, maybe even physically, right? So I don't want to assume that there aren't people who heard the second part because they're in a tough spot, right? But I think a lot of times when we read this verse, or when we hear this verse read, the focus is on the second part, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And this passage has been used to suggest that God will give you anything you want. As a parent, I would never give my child anything they wanted. That's not good policy. We will want things we shouldn't have. We will want things that aren't good for us. We will want things that will cause us harm. In fact, when I was a kid, had my mom given me everything I would have gotten, I would have had a jetpack. I would have had, an airplane, probably a hot air balloon. I would have had one of those rail cars where you pump them up and down. You know what I'm talking about? Because we live next to a railroad track, and I thought that would be super cool. And of course, I would be on that track every time there was a train, trying to catch the train or outrun the train. And so my mom did not give me everything I wanted. And I'm very fortunate that she didn't. And you'll be very fortunate if God doesn't give you everything you want, unless the scripture says you delight yourself in the Lord. And so this is the part I really want to focus on, is the delight yourself in the Lord. And he's saying, set your heart on things above. Set your heart and your mind and your desire on God. Set your affection and your affinity toward God. Like, that's the point here. The point of the psalmist here isn't to say God's going to give you everything you want. The point is God is willing to bless your approach to him. In fact, listen to the context. Remember, I always tell you, you need context. Context is so vitally important. If you take one verse out of here and one verse out of there, you're going to end up with a theology that is not good. So listen to what he says. He says, trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and enjoy safe pasture. And so there's some things happening here. It's like, trust in the Lord and do good. Like, put all of your confidence and your faith and your hope and your dreams and your aspirations in God, and then do good things. I think he really means toward others. And then he says, and you will dwell in safe pasture. In other words, God will do his part, sort of. And then let's look at the next verse. It says, commit your way to the Lord, trust in him, and he will Do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. So basically, and he goes on, he talks about being still before the Lord and refraining from anger, and he talks about avoiding evil, and he talks about avoiding wickedness. He talks about not delighting in callousness and evil. So he what David is doing here is he's just promising you that your effectual devotion to God is not going to go unrewarded or unnoticed. God is going to do his part. God has already done more than we've done, and God will continue to do his part. God is faithful. He will do what he promises. That's really what David's trying to point out here. And then he's trying to tell you how you live in such a way to enjoy that reality. He's like, do good things. Trust in the Lord, delight in the Lord, hope in the Lord, commit to the Lord, be still before the Lord, refrain from things that are contrary to the Lord. So he really lays out this case, and then he says, and God will take care of you. And this is a really encouraging promise, because I think the closer you get to operating in a godly way, the more you will be treated like God often is by the world. And what David is trying to remind you is, while the world may hate you and despise you, God will love you and bless you, and he will make his face to shine upon you, and he will give you peace. So I just want to say thank you all for praying last night. It was amazing. It was I was very uncertain of how the baccalaureate would go. The rains came down hard all day, and I was worried that would be detrimental to the event. But the sun came out. It was a beautiful, beautiful afternoon. And when we had our baccalaureate service, nobody had to get wet running into the school, and we had lots of students there. It was a beautifully encouraging event. And if you have a high school senior, please encourage them to consider their journey with God and help them to learn how to delight in the Lord and not the things of this world. Hope you enjoyed this Coffee and the Word. I hope it was a blessing to you. God bless you. Have a wonderful Thursday. This has been another edition of Coffee and the Word.